So how many of you are actually working with students who are preparing for NMT? So do you have students this year that are preparing for NMT that are actually considering passing it? Okay, I see pluses in the chat box. Hello, Kiev. Okay, Marina, you're... I have them every year. Yeah. Hello from Cherkasy region. Hello. Yes. So to be quite honest with you, I have them too every year. Yes. Thank you everyone who's raising their hands to tell me that they also have students prepare for NMT. Yeah, it's a hot topic almost every year right now. I guess you can agree with me because we all how do I better say this? So we all have students who sometimes are not sure about what they will be taking the test in. Hello, Khmelnytsky region. Hello, Kryvyi Rih. Hello, Dnipro. Hello. And they choose English as a backup plan, right? But some children, some students, to call them children is sometimes it's not right to call them children, right? So students, hello, Poltava, Dnipro, Kremenchuk, hello everyone. And some of them choose English because they know for sure that it will be one of those subjects that is needed to actually get enrolled into the university. So yeah, sometimes they choose English just because, but sometimes they choose English because they really need it. Okay, so I see a lot of people joining. So yeah, I think we can start, right? Because we have a few introductory slides. So yeah, we will start and we will have people joining. And I will ask you to be active in the chat box, express your thoughts, opinions, maybe share your advice when it comes down to it. And I guess we are all open to see some new things when it comes to preparing for NMT. Okay, so let's start, right? So, as usual, about me a little bit. So, I have about 10 years of experience with working with English as a teacher. I know how it is to work with no standards in primary and in secondary school. It hasn't reached high school yet, but soon it will. I work with different age groups, worked before and work now. And I really enjoy using digital resources. You probably, some of you, I think, attended one of my webinars. It was in July, I believe, about digitalization, and you really enjoyed it from what I saw. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to use digital resources when working with children and adults, students, no matter what age. And in my humble opinion, as I would like to say, I am an expert in creating different materials for students, both digital and printable also. You can see the information about how you can contact me at the bottom of the slide right here. So my mobile phone, my email address, and you can also see, if I remember correctly, our website. So once again, moving on to the next, yeah, I forgot I have animation happening here. So about the certificates, I decided to put in the date on which you will be receiving the certificates. So it will be within 5 working days. So as of today, it will be November 13th, which is a Monday. So before that, don't expect for the certificates to show up in your inbox. But of course, after the Monday, November 13th, please make sure to check your junk boxes in your email boxes, because sometimes email servers like to send our letters with the certificates to the junk boxes. I have no idea why, but yeah, it happens. So please make sure that you check the email boxes and the appropriate email boxes, because I had a situation once happen where one of the teachers wrote to me using their second email address and was very curious why they haven't received the certificate for the webinar. And when I asked if they used this email address which they write me from, they say, no, I used my other email address. And I'm like, have you checked that email box? She's like, no, please go check. And if you don't find it there, then write me or call me. And sure enough, the certificate was there. So yeah, it happens, even to the best of us. So the agenda for today. It's, of course, the structure and the specifics of the National Multi-Subject Test, strategies and some practical advice that will be useful in preparations for NMT, and of course, the analysis of NMT tasks with all of the tips that we covered during the webinar today. So, as of right now, according to the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine, in 2024, the structure and the appearance of the NMT will be different from the 2023 visuals that we had. So you see the QR code here, you can scan it and it will send you to the article that I'm referring to here while I talk about the structure of the NMT, and it's from the Ministry of Education and Science website. It was posted at the end of September, as far as I remember right now, some September 23rd, something like that. I haven't seen any other articles about that, that something has changed. So as of right now, that's actually the correct information. Maybe something will change closer to the date, but I doubt it very much. So in 2024, the NMT will be happening something like this. So first of all, there would be 3+1 system when it comes to the number of subjects that students can pass, actually, can have the test in. So we will have Ukrainian language, we have history of Ukraine and math, which will be mandatory subjects to pass. The fourth one, it's completely up to the student to choose. It can be English, it can be biology, chemistry, or any other topic that they would like to take the test in. Also, the time frames for the test have changed because we have now 4 subjects that students need to pass, and they will have to pass all of those subjects during one session. So the session of the test will look something like this. So it would be 2 hours for the test, a break. So I heard that it would be maybe up to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, but right now there's no trustworthy information about the duration of the break. But after the break, it would be another 2 hours for the test. So 1 hour basically for each of the subjects that the student is supposed to take the test in. So all in all, 4 plus something hours. Okay, I will check the chat box. Yeah, so everyone is saying hello, just so I'm sure that we don't have any questions so far. Okay, next, what can we expect when it comes to NMT in English? So, first of all, we have 1 hour to complete the test. Then we have no listening tasks. As far as I know, as far as I searched the internet and MON website, we have no indication that listening tasks will be included into the NMT. Of course, we don't have any writing tasks. So we don't have to, our students don't have to write any texts, emails, letters, and so on, or essays. Of course, reading and use of English are the main types of tasks in the test that will be happening, as you already know from 2023 test. And the number of tasks in the test is 32. Okay, so what types of tasks are in NMT? Well, first of all, tasks 1 and 3 will be matching tasks. You are already familiar with them, and your students are probably too, because we will have advertisements or ads, however you want to call them, and little texts. I like to call them little texts, where you need to match the purpose of the text or the headings with the actual advertisement or text. So we all know those tasks, how they work. Of course, we will have task 2, which will be choosing the correct answer. So we will have a big text, we will have questions after it, and we need to choose the correct option. Next, we have task 4, which is fill in the blanks, but fill in the blanks with not just 1 word or 2 words, but parts of the sentence. So once again, it's a pretty big text, and you need to fill in the blanks with some parts of the sentences. Task 5, choose the correct option, which is the vocabulary task. And of course, task 6, choose the correct option, which is grammar. So all of the familiar tasks that we have from ZNO, but without the listening part and without the writing part. Okay, so again, I will check the chat box. Yes, thank you. So yeah, so on Львівському центрі оцінювання якості освіти, on their website, they have the demo version of the English test. So you can use that to work with your students. Even on their website, they have the clock, which shows the amount of time that you have left. So you can work with that too. So the general strategies that you can use when preparing for NMT. It's, of course, time management, which is an important part for writing, for taking a timed test. Next, we have guessing strategies, then comprehensive strategies, and understanding question types. So we will talk a little bit more in depth about all of these strategies. So the time management strategy, it's of course how your students work with the time that they're given and with the tasks they need to complete when it comes to a timed test. It's very nerve-wracking, so yeah, teach your students to plan ahead. So they need to know the structure of the test, the types of questions they have in the test, and how they can divide their time to complete each and every question. So some useful advice that I will share with you when it comes to time management of preparation for NMT. So first of all, you need to develop a study plan, a schedule, so to speak. Schedule, once again, it all depends on how you pronounce it, right? So creating a schedule that has regular study sessions to cover all of the sections of the exam. you need, of course, to practice regularly, because when you have like a sporadic burst of inspiration to practice, it won't work in your students' favor, right? And of course, use online resources or paper resources that offer NMT-specific exercises, such as filling in the blanks, choosing the correct option for vocabulary and grammar, or as we usually call them, use of English tasks. And of course, help your students work with the time restraints that they have. So think about what things they can encounter while taking a time test. So one of my students from the previous year, she had a person who was sitting next to her, so that girl's computer like basically froze, and she was scared out of her mind what to do, and she couldn't complete, basically she couldn't complete the test in time, and it was very nerve-wracking, so to speak. Okay, so take timed practice tests, which the link you received in the chat box for the demo version of the text. I will also include a PDF version into your thank you letters for attending the webinar. So, and the link for the website where you can take the actual test from 2023. So yeah, do practice tests, timed practice tests with your students. It will help them basically divide their time and understand how the test works. And it will help your students not to get as nervous during the actual test. Have any of you used timed tests with your students before? That type of practice? Okay, can you tell me in the chat box if you did or not? Because I'm very interested in listening to your experience. Okay, Christina, yeah. Thank you. So my next advice when it comes to time management, it's of course reading each question thoroughly. Yes, it takes more than a few seconds, but when you read the question thoroughly, it helps you understand what you actually need to do to answer that question, right? Because we all know that sometimes questions can be worded pretty tricky, and some students may not understand what they actually need to do, right, to answer the question, how they can actually answer the question. And so teach your students to be very careful while reading the questions, and of course reading the options that they have to choose from to answer that question, because it can lead to misunderstandings and of course not choosing the correct option. Next, we have advice like take your time once you start answering questions, because rushing will only lead to mistakes. They studied, they prepared for the test for a long while, so they have no reason at all to rush. Just explain to your students that they know everything, so calm their mind, yeah, because when they have a test which their future depends on, it gives them even more pressure, puts even more pressure on them. So yeah, they think that by doing things quickly, they will be more accurate. Sometimes I even become very curious about how students want to do things so quickly, but it is what it is. Remember the guessing strategies that I mentioned. So about the guessing strategies. So these are the strategies that will help you and of course your students to eliminate the wrong options or the wrong answers. So the first guessing strategy is try to make an educated guess. So basically your students try to guess the correct answer based on the knowledge that they already have in this current topic. So for example, if they have a question or a sentence about Ukrainian cuisine, they already know what dishes can be involved in the story or in the question, and so on and so on. So yeah, they already have some knowledge about that, which makes it easier for them to work with the sentence. Same works here. Okay. Second guessing strategy is using the process of elimination as the first step. So usually I even like to tell my students that at least one of the options will sound, or when you read it in your mind, it will look a little bit out of place. Or maybe some pronouns are not just not working with the question or with the text. So at least one of the options will not work in that test question. Or even maybe when we have exercises, tasks, such as use of English. And of course, we, for example, can guess that when we have something like at the moment or right now, it will only be like a continuous tense, right? So it won't be like the perfect tense or just a simple tense. It will inevitably be continuous tense. So yeah, teach your students how to eliminate the wrong options as the first step while working with the question. Next, use the wording of the question or answers as a clue to eliminate possibilities. So, for example, if you have a question that says, which of the following is not included into the list of grocery shopping in the story, something like that, right? And in the story, they talked about some dairy products, some fruits and vegetables, and maybe something from the bakery. But one of the options, of course, says something like, I don't know, maybe like some drinks. But of course, we need to see what kind of drinks they mention, because if they mention milk, it will work with dairy products. So be careful with the wording of the questions and the answers. Next, choose the most precise answer. So especially when questions or options, answers, involve dates, so years, months, days, and some concrete information, please make sure that your students checked with the text and that they chose the answer that is the most precise. And number 5, avoid answers that seem out of context. So if it has no relation whatsoever to the topic of the text, then it's out. Leave that option out. Okay, so some advice on how to eliminate one or more choices. I think some of you already teach your students this, but I just want to, yes, Anastasia, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so my colleague Victoria, she already sent you a link with some exam question types and characteristics. So it will be very useful when your students work with the question types. So about the advice. So of course, use your students' previous knowledge of word prefixes, suffixes, and roots to make guesses about some of the unknown terms. So I would usually like to tell my students who prepare for NMT to look at the word and distinguish a part that they are familiar with, that they have already seen before, and give me the translation of it. And then we try to work with the suffixes, with the prefixes that are, or maybe the endings even, that are already added to that word, and we try to think of what those other parts bring to the meaning of the word. And it usually helps them to understand what the word wants to say very easily. Okay, next, beware of the use of negative terms in answers, such as none, not, never. So maybe in the text, the sentence was positive, yeah, so, and a person said that I have a lot of books about this topic, but maybe one of the options for the answers to the question has not or none or no added to it, and usually that option would be structured almost completely the same as the sentence in the text. And when students see the similar structures, they like, this is the correct option for sure. And they don't seem to notice the negative part added in that option. And yeah, so it usually doesn't work in their favor. So that's why I always tell my students to check the options without rushing first. Okay, our next advice is be aware of superlatives in answer choices, such as more, always, and only, because usually they change the meaning of that option that we have when answering the question. And our last part of advice is superlatives usually indicate an undisputed fact, because, you know, the superlatives talk about the best, the worst, the most beautiful, the ugliest something, right? And you can't ignore that it's a fact because it was compared, yeah, before. And yeah, so please give your students all of this information and show them the difference in practice, so to speak. And how to do that, I will show you at the end of our webinar. And you will work on those with me. So, about the comprehensive strategies that we can use while preparing for NMT. So, first of all, it's active reading. So, reading with understanding what we read, right? Taking notes, of course, while reading also works for the active reading, for the benefits of active reading. Identifying key points, so understanding what parts of the sentence have the most meaning, and of course using those key points to identify the correct answer to the question or the things that help fill in the blanks with the correct part of the sentence. Next, we have practicing inferencing skills. About inferencing skills, we will talk just a little bit later. Next, of course, we have taking notes. Students can take notes not just while reading, but also while listening. So taking notes while reading is, of course, useful for doing the tests. And I know for a fact that during NMT, your students can have a pen and a piece of paper beside them, and they can make notes for using to use later. Okay, identifying main ideas, same as identifying key points. This will help your students understand what is the main subject of the story and what the author wanted to tell us. And of course, utilizing context clues. I think you are already familiar with context and clues, but we will talk a little bit more in detail what are context clues and how our students can utilize them while working with timed tests. So, inference skills are the skills that allow not just you, but your students to make guesses and estimates for additional information, and that those guesses will be based on the information that they already have, on the information they have already read from the story, or maybe some background information that they already have, that they have already learned before on the topic. So, first of all, it's making predictions. So, please, when working with texts, encourage your students to make predictions based on what they have already read in the text. So have your students predict what will happen at the end of the story, or maybe how the situation will work out in the story that they are reading about. Next, please ask your students, please push your students, to ask questions about the text, about the meaning, about the things that happen in the text. So any type of questions that your students can work with and they can ask, please don't discourage them from asking questions. It's an important part in understanding the text. Next is clarifying key information. So we saw about key words and key points in the text. So yeah, ask your students to define what are the key points, the key words in the text in their opinion, and compare those opinions with opinions of other students and how it can all work together. Next, we have summarizing sections of the text. So giving a brief summary of the text can show you if your students actually understand what the text is about, because you can ask them to give a summary in 1 to 2 sentences, and that will show just how much of the text they understood. Then, encourage your students to infer the meanings of the words and sentences in context. So especially those parts that your students are not sure about. So ask them to check the text for the words that they understand and make a conclusion about what the other words that they don't understand may mean in that sentence. And of course, activate previous knowledge. So have your students use their background in guessing the meaning of the words, in thinking about what will happen in the story, what will happen next. Okay, so just a quick second. I will turn on the lights for myself because it's already getting dark, a little bit dark, so you can see me better. Okay, so the context clues that I told you about, they are hints basically for a specific content. They will help you understand the meaning, and your students, of course, to understand the meaning of the context that is hidden in plain but also twisted text. So the context clues can be used to explain a passage, a paragraph, or maybe some individual statements that we have in the text. So the first type of clue that we can have is a synonym or a restatement clue. So, for example, we have a sentence here. It was a frigid winter night. Even the lake was frozen solid. So, which parts do you think are synonyms? So, it was a frigid winter night. Even the lake was frozen solid. Hello, Serhi. Nice to see you here too. So, which parts in these sentences, in these two sentences, or big sentence, which can be thought of as synonyms? Please put your ideas in the chat box. Yes, frigid and frozen. Yeah, very good. So, for example, in in the question, for example, the authors of the test can use frigid, right? But in the text, it would be frozen solid. So that's how rephrasing of the text questions work and how sometimes it can confuse students. Okay, our next clue is antonym or contrast clue. So we have a sentence, for example. Yeah, we have the feral cat would not let us pet him, unlike our friendly cat. So which words would be antonyms here? The feral cat would not let us pet him, unlike our friendly cat. Hello, everyone who's joining. So can you tell me which words would be, yeah, feral and friendly? Yes, okay, thank you. Anastasia, thank you. Yeah, so once again, in one of the questions or in one of the options, you will have, for example, feral. So how can you describe an animal that is not very friendly, yeah? And a few of the words how to describe that. Yeah. Okay, very good. So the next clue is definition or explanation clue. So the doctor's writing was utterly illegible. Sorry, no one could read those scribbles. So what here is a definition or an explanation? So for me, it's utterly illegible, yeah? And the explanation is scribbles, basically. Definition, scribbles, and something like that, right? So the writing was utterly illegible, and the explanation or the definition for it, yeah, it's scribbles. So he's writing in scribbles, the doctor. But I guess all of you can agree that a lot of the doctors have pretty nice handwriting, but some of them, especially when they are rushing, some of the words that they write, especially when you need to go to the pharmacy and buy some medicine, it's like, oh, what is it? What is it? Okay. Our next context clue is punctuation or font clues. So why we have punctuation or font? Because the clues can be defined with commas, with any other punctuation marks. But of course, we have different fonts used in the text, and some of the things can be detailed with the font, right? So here we have in this sentence, we have the punctuation clue, right? Terry retained, kept the keys to the old mansion, and kept, which explains the word retained, on those sides has the dash, not the dash. I forgot how to say tere in English. Sorry. Okay, and of course, our last context clue that we can use, it's general or inference clue. So we already know that inferences is things that make us guess, right, about the meaning. And we have this big sentence as an example. So why he was an enigmatic figure? Because his inventions contribute to many of the modern conveniences, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so the question types. I will only show the question types that we can usually see in NMT, but there are many different types of questions besides the ones I will show you. So you can check some of the links that Victoria will put into the chat box about the question types. So the multiple choice questions, they are usually the best represented in NMT. So they are composed of the stem of the question and with different possible answers, which include correct answer and several incorrect answers, or which they can be called the distractors, right? Because they distract students from the correct answer. So the true-false questions, sometimes, most of the time, they happen for the listening tasks, but there are similar types of questions when we talk about that big text in NMT. So we have some similarities there too. Of course, true-false questions, they are composed of a statement, and we need to decide based on the evidence if it's true or if it's false. Next, it's short answer questions. So we have those type of questions usually when it comes to the reading tasks, and they are formed of a brief prompt. And of course, the question will have an answer, a written answer, which will be from 2 to 3 words, maybe 5 max. Next, we have matching, which is very common for NMT. And of course, we have short answer questions. It's double. Okay. So, my personal list of life hacks when preparing for NMT. I will ask you to put pluses or yeses if you are already using those life hacks yourself. And if you don't, then I think you will enjoy them very much. So, the first life hack that I have is for tasks with matching. So look for synonyms in headings or summaries and texts. So usually when we talked about the rephrasing, and more often than not, the synonyms or maybe the antonyms can be found in the, can be found in the descriptions or in the headings, and of course in the text. It's a pretty easy way to match the heading or the description with the text. Okay, my next life hack is when the student is unsure which option to choose when they have when they can decide between 2 options. So let them mark both options as of the moment they think about this question. And the one that's wrong will basically show itself when it will work either with another text, or when your student digs deeper into the advertisement or into the text and finds some details that are just not working with that second option. Okay, our next life hack, it's once again for tasks with matching. Read the headings or the summaries first. I can't stress this enough, especially with my students. So I tell them to read the options and the headings or summaries first, because when they are familiar with the options they can choose from, it makes their choice easier when they start to read the text. So, for example, one of my students used this life hack when NMT was still ZNO, and she told me after the test, she called me and she said, you know, I'm very happy that I remembered your advice about reading the summaries, the headings first, before you go to the texts. because I had no idea what option to choose for this one advertisement, and then I just continued to read, and yeah, I had two options for one, but then I went back to that previous option, and then I saw some details and I understood why, because yeah, so why is it useful? Yes, Hannah, it's useful because a lot of the students, when they read the headings or the summaries first, they already know what they are looking for in the text. So, for example, we will see a few pages from one of the books that we can use, and I will show you in practice how that works. Okay, my next advice, my next life hack is, of course, once again, for tasks with matching, look for the details in the text. Yeah, look out for the details in the text, because precision is key. So if the questions are about the dates or maybe some particular events, please make sure that the option that you choose matches correctly with the text, with the options. Okay, my next life hack, searching for keywords. Yeah, sometimes people say it's useless, but for example, when we work with advertisements, with ads, and we have to find, for example, an advertisement where someone can donate something, right? So donation. And if we see in the advertisement, we see the words charity, it instantly attracts our attention, right? Because we know that donations are allowed for the charity things. Yeah, so that helps. Wrong answers will have the same exact parts or structures in them as the text. And my students have already seen that in action, because sometimes they see options which are the exact copy of the sentence from the text, but then they point out, oh, we have no or not or any, and it's not right. It doesn't work with this text. And I'm like, okay, good job, everyone. So my next life hacks. So of course, it's be careful with questions that are not just a simple question that are asking for some facts or some factual information, but we have questions that sound like this. What is not true about? What is false about? Everything is true about something except. So yeah, it is tricky to choose the correct option here. My next life hack is searching for evidence in the text when you need to choose the answer. So once again, it ties with keywords, key phrases, with the synonyms, the antonyms. Everything works together. Next, searching for tenses to match, singular, plural forms to match, pronouns to match. This life hack works very well with tasks about filling in the blanks. In use of English also, but that big text about from the reading task, where you need to fill in the blanks with parts of the sentence. Okay, advise your students to read a lot. Different types of texts, very different, from wherever and whenever they can get their hands on it. So encourage them to read, because it helps them to encounter different, not just different vocabulary, but also different types of texts, sorry, and those different types of texts can very well appear in the NMT. So that's why usually I encourage my students to check out BBC's website, to check out any news outlets' websites, or even read some not very heavy literature in English. But of course, it depends on the student, because some of them will want to do that, will be happy to do that, some will not. Next is, of course, rereading the sentences after you filled in the blanks to check if they sound logical and true. Because my first advice, usually when filling in the blanks, go back to that sentence. Yes. Okay, Serhi, thank you. I usually use this life hack when I see that my student is not sure about their option. So I ask him or her to reread that sentence and to feel, yet tell me the feeling that they have about that particular blank that they filled. And sometimes it helps them see that they were correct, but if it's wrong, it helps to see that it's wrong. Okay, and my next life hack is look at what you have before and after the blanks in the sentences, because usually those clues that you have before the blank and after the blank help you identify the correct option. Usually it works very well for the use of English tasks, where we need to find the correct word to fill in the blank. So I know that you are already familiar with these two books. So this one, the blue one, is a new part of our family for preparation for Zno and NMT. And I will use some of the exercises from this book to show you how we can work with the life hacks, with the advice that we saw in the webinar. So just a second, I will unfold my document here. So can you tell me in the chat box if you can see my page here? Yes. Okay, Anastasia. Yes. Ruslana. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So let's follow my first advice. My first life hack. It's reading the options first, the summaries or the headings first. So which of the advertisements might be useful for someone who? So I will be highlighting some words. Yeah, so useful for someone who. We have some books to donate to charity, so give away for free, right? Is keen to develop different skills. So we know that keen on or keen to, so likes to do something very, very much, right? And skills. Would like a change of career. Yeah, change of career, so basically changing a place of work. Is interested in doing voluntary work. So once again, voluntary work. Work that does not require payment whatsoever, right? Wants to improve their languages. Improve their languages. Sorry, just improve their languages. Needs to get their driver's license. Needs to get. So they don't have it yet. They have to get it yet. Enjoys doing physical work. Yeah, physical work. Has to prepare for an interview. Has to prepare. So they are not ready yet for the interview. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I guess we can start from the top, right? I will have a smaller percentage showing here. Okay, so let's look at the advertisement number 17, right? So we have new classes starting soon. New classes starting soon, and we have English, French, German lessons for all the levels. So just from this part, we already saw something familiar, right? So going back to our options here, something familiar about languages. So can you tell me which option is it? E, yeah, very good, very good. So just by working with the options first, right, we can already see that we have option E as the correct one. Okay, very well. Let's go back to, not go back, but go to number 18, right? So, okay, I will close this one. Are you over 21, car driver, perhaps tired of your current job? So here we have perhaps tired of your current job, but we also have car driver, right? Because we didn't have anything about age in our options, about the jobs. Next, we have your hiring, and we have driving instructors needed for a well-established school. So the person already needs to have their driving license, right? So the option that was about not having it yet may not work, right? And we have training to qualify as an instructor provided. So they will be trained to work as an instructor. So going back to our options, which one do you think would work here? Okay, let me open the chat box. C, very well. So remember we had option about the driving license, right? But needs to get their driver's license. But to work there, you already need to have the driver's license. Not having it doesn't cut it, right? So yeah, that's how it works, basically. Okay, okay. I will move on to the next task, so we don't lose that much time. So we have a big text about American teenagers at work. So the text basically talks about how American teenagers work, have job experience even before they finish high school, right? Okay, I will check the chat box. Yeah, and so, for example, here when we go to the questions, we have a question number 23 that looks very familiar, right? From my life hacks about different types of questions. Yeah, so we have a question number 23. Which of the following is not mentioned, sorry, as the benefit of working? And we have having money of your own, getting to know yourself well, sharing experiences with peers, developing a sense of responsibility. So going back to the text, we can look at it. So we can probably see from the structure of the questions that it either works for the first paragraph or the first and the second paragraph, yeah? So just a quick run through text. It says that high school students have become more demanding with more projects to complete, deadlines to meet, and so on and so on. In the summer vacations, teens are under pressure to attend programs and courses. So that paragraph, the first one, won't work here, right? So of course it's about the second paragraph. So having a part-time job when you are young means extra cash for teenagers to buy fancy clothes or jewelry. Helps them develop, also helps them develop useful habits for being responsible, organized, and punctual. In addition, they can acquire practical skills, so all of this. yeah? And very importantly, in most cases, it also helps people to discover a talent or interest they were unaware of, yeah? So, going back to our options. Having money of your own, check, right? It was mentioned that the high schoolers will have extra cash to buy fancy clothes or jewelry. So this one is in the text, right? Getting to know yourself well. It was in the text, but it was rephrased a little bit, right? So, very importantly, in some cases, it has also helped people to discover a talent or interest they were unaware of, yeah, to understand themselves better. Works, right? Then let's look at the next option. So we have sharing experiences with peers. Did we have anything that can be used as a synonym for this? We saw that about useful habits, acquire practical skills, help themselves discover something. Yeah, so it wasn't there, right? So C is one of the options that can be considered for the correct answer here. And we also have option D, developing a sense of responsibility. So, if I remember correctly, yeah, so it also helps them develop useful habits like being responsible, organized, and punctual. Responsible, organized, and punctual, right? Works. Yeah, so option C is our, correct one, right? Okay, and for example, let's go to task 6. What? No, I want to go to use of English tasks. So we have here, yeah, task 8. Yeah, task 8. And we have the text about the lifeguards, right? And they talk about popular TV shows. The profession of a lifeguard is rather popular in those TV shows, yeah, especially during the summertime. This job is rather because you face dangerous situations, but you can help people and become a hero to some of them. So we have fascinated, we have stressful, we have satisfying, and we have physical. So we have the description here, right? We have you face, because you face dangerous situation, but you can also help people and become a hero to some of them. So which of those 4 seem fitting to you? Option B. Yeah, good job, everyone. Yeah, option B. Because fascinated won't work, yeah, about dangerous situation. How can it be fascinated? Stressful, yeah, it's the best description because we have danger, we have helping people and becoming a hero. Sometimes it's very stressful. Satisfying, not so much. And physical, it would have worked, but we don't have anything about like swimming, right? About the physical part of being a lifeguard here. Okay. And of course, next, let's look at task 9. So about the grammar options. So we have the Pomodoro technique. Imagine that you study for your test, but instead you just scroll down social media pages or clean your room. And we have options: have to, can, ought, are able. So are able definitely won't work, right? Because we are not talking about the possibility of someone studying, right? For ought, we need to have to here. You can study or you have to study. So some people are divided. Yeah, imagine that you have to study, because remember, can is all about having the ability or the possibility, right? But have to, you have to. It doesn't depend on your wishes, right? It's you have to do that. So yeah, of course, we need to choose A. We need to choose have to. And just for giggles, yeah, for fun, we have, so in this book, we have a lot of tasks which are about Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So it would also be useful for students to learn more about their country. So on the 21st of November 2022 or 2022, the two Ukrainian school teams, real mini laboratories for microgravity research on ISS. So we have sent, has sent, sended. Which option won't work right away? Because it's not correct at all. Yeah, D is not correct, but the correct option would be option B, right? Because we are stating a fact here, that because we have the exact date, and we just stating a fact that they sent the their research, right? Yeah, okay, so option B. And let's do one more. Yeah, so it is the first time in the history of the Ukrainian Minor Academy of Science, MAN in Ukrainian, yeah, to send the work into space. And we have of students, for students, of students. So we have the possessive case here, yeah, because we already know that students as in plural. So which one do you think will work here? A. I see a lot of A's. Does everyone agree that it's A? I see B. So A or B? What do you think? Some people say B. A. Okay. But so just to diffuse the tension here, so let's look at the structure of the sentence, right? To send the work, not of students, because the work of students. If we had the students' work, remember, if we have the noun before the person who owns it, yeah, we can use of. Yes, so option A is the correct one. So yeah, that's why it's important to look at what you have before the blank space and after it, right? Because what you have before the blank space can help you out in choosing the correct option. Okay, very good, everyone. So I will show you my contact information one more time. If you maybe have any questions, feel free to call me. Yes, so I decided to open the questions. Yes, Olena Pavlyuchenko. Yeah, you can use these books for NMT for sure, because the structure of the tasks is the same as for ZNO, which is left over for NMT. And of course, you can use those for preparation for NMT. I usually tend to use the listening tasks and the writing tasks with my students just for practice, to keep their knowledge alive when it comes to listening skills and writing skills, because yeah, it's not needed for the exam, for the test, but it's very useful to still keep their level very above. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all. I was very anxious, so to speak, because it's not the first time I'm sharing my advice about preparation for NMT, but I hope that it was helpful and you will use those life hacks advice with your students, and it will make it easier for them to prepare for any exams. Once again, the recording for the webinar will be up on our YouTube page. You can find the recording there. If you want to refer to some of the materials, you can also order. I believe Victoria gave you some links in the chat box. You can also order these books on our why did I want to say Instagram page? But yeah, if you want to, you can go to our Instagram and find a lot of things there. But you can order them from our thank you, Sergey. So you can order these books on our website, which is linguist.ua. We have an internet shop there, an online shop. You can place your order there. All of the audio recordings that are required for the listening tasks are on our website. The keys to the tasks are also there. And also, I believe Victoria shared with you links to the ZNO leader books. So I have mine right here. And you can use these books, of course, with your students too. And there are also Quizlet cards that can be useful for learning vocabulary for these books. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here with me. Thank you for being so enthusiastic, being so active. And if you have any ideas, any concerns you want to share with me, you have my contact information here. And also you will receive the letter from Zoom, I believe tomorrow, thanking you for attending my webinar and for filling in. Marina, you will have the video. I believe it will be up on our YouTube channel on either Thursday or Friday. I need to check my schedule, but yeah. So by the end of the week, it will be on the YouTube page. Thank you. Yeah, once again, thank you all. I'm very happy to see that you enjoyed this topic a lot, because I saw that you really wanted to have a webinar about the preparation for ZNO and for NMT. So I decided to grab the bull by the horns and actually do it. And yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, go for it. Once again, a reminder, the certificates for the webinar will be sent out on Monday, November 13th. So, thank you all. One more time, thank you all. And I will see you very, very soon on my next webinar. I haven't decided on the topic yet, but if you share your ideas in the feedback form with me, that will be sent to you by Zoom, I will be very thankful. So, have a quiet and nice evening, and goodbye.